here with at CPAC Mexico with the president of mis amigos migrantes, pues aquí estoy.
Total catastrophe, and it is a crisis.
Of a child right there. All these NGOs, you're fake. It is this, the crisis of children.
Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. We are live, people. It is March 3rd of the year. Let me just get the microphone ready right here. Volume is kind of right there. I think it's way better. It's March 3rd of the year 2025. My God, the volume. What is going on with the volume of the microphone? So annoying doing this every time. Microphone, behave. So these are, world topics. We're going to touch today on world topics. It is important that we know what's going on in terms to everybody knows what's going on around the globe. But let me just touch up a little bit. Before we go, Buy Me a Coffee is right there. Pin in the chat for people that want to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. So many of you know that we have been here in the Darien Gap. All these articles, you can find them in our page, in our webpage, Oscar Blue Ramirez News. You can find it right there. And this is the crazy thing about everything that is that we have been inside of the Darien Gap 4 times. And it's just incredible to understand and to make you think that there's this possibility that 96% people of the flow of migrants through the Darien Gap has slowed down, has decreased. This tells you the level of effectiveness of the Trump effect that has had not only in their country with Mexico and the United States, which they have decreased the level of illegal migration like possibly nobody has ever done it in history, like Donald Trump just did, to decrease the level of illegal migration into the United States. Touching another topic, 96% of the flow. You have to be kidding me. I will be much concerned now to go in right now into the Darien, as we went in there not too long ago. And we went in there 4 times. So apparently this is, I'm going to translate what it says right here. It says that the number of migrants to cross the Darien on this, dangerous jungle between Panama and Colombia, according to the Service National of Migration, until now, there has only registered 2,637 people. That's nothing. That was just one day. You have to be kidding me. That was just one day. In comparison to 72,294. That's what I'm saying. So last year, people, if you do not understand, last year, on January till now, to March, it was 72,000 people. From January till now to March, it is 2,637 people. What a decrease. Lord, really? That is an incredible decrease of flow through the Darien Gap. Imagine if you're in there and you're looking at hundreds of thousands of people, more than 70 plus thousand in 3 months. And now you see that, and it is like a ghost town. It is like a ghost town of 2,600 and plus people in 3 months. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. It is more than a 96% decrease. The administration of Panama, it is clearly, now thinking of what they're going to do with the reverse flow. And why am I saying reverse flow? It is because the reverse flow, it is extremely more dangerous. When we went in there, we did it on the inverse route. We did it going against the flow. And it is extremely more dangerous going against the flow than going with the flow. And now people want to go back to the Darien and walk it back to Colombia against the flow. And it's more dangerous, more incredibly dangerous. And it is, much risky. So the people of the Darien and also ultimately the tribes inside the Darien jungle, they're asking the government to basically say to them, you know what, man, we need for you to take care of this problem. We don't want this problem again. So the tribesmen are saying, okay, you just eradicated this problem. And the problem is already finished. They're not coming through here. Okay, we don't want them to come back, on the reverse route. We don't want that responsibility. Why? Because it is not profitable and not profitable even for the tribes. Nobody is going to pay for them to stay. It is not profitable for them to. The only profitable thing is the canoes to get them to the particular place, and then from there they're going to walk. From there, it is not profitable. The only other thing that is going to be profitable, it is that somebody keeps stealing in there, somebody keeps robbing and raping. For the bandits, for the bad people, that's the only thing that for them is like, well, I'm going in there to do the evil stuff. But other than that, 96% it has decreased. This is an incredible stat given by the Panamanian authorities. It's just incredible. And they don't have passports to fly. So what they're doing is going around with boats, these, big canoes. They're going with these big canoes, and they're paying these canoes to go around, with boats. So it basically tells you the amount and the vast, quantity of people that they're returning back. And it's a lot. And, the thing about it is that now let's get into the detail. Like, a lot of these people are saying we're running away from persecution, and now you're returning back. And we're seeing these videos. I have seen these videos of a lot of these people from Venezuela that they have. I'm not criticizing them. I walk with a lot of them, and there are a lot of good people, with Venezuelan people. But a lot of them that were saying we're running away from persecution, right? And when you see their faces returning back, they're extremely happy. A lot of them that they got returned back right now, that they got recently deported under the Trump administration, they're happy to return back home. So I'm just saying, what's the whole deal? Like, it wasn't you getting out because it was not even livable over there. You cannot even survive. And now, you're happy about it. It's just, I don't understand. This is why the filter needed to happen, so you can understand who it is, particularly potentially of asylum and refugee case. So you can immediately identify who as an urgent, legitimate case of asylum and refugee. So that's one. Let's go to the other one that is hot, another topic that is hot. So a standing ovation for Zelensky after being humiliated by Trump. And I'm saying humiliated because I'm going to be open about it, and I'm going to speak a little bit of this topic. I'm not going to speak a lot. On 2023, I got invited by the great Chuck Colton to go to Ukraine. And we did a whole tour. We started in Amsterdam. Then from Amsterdam, we went to Belgium, and from Belgium we went to France, to Calais, then to the borders with the UK. Then we returned back to Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, we went to Poland. From Poland, we drove all the way to the borders to Ukraine. And to enter Ukraine was extremely difficult. All these things that they're saying that they have inspection points, it is a reality. Right now that they're saying that they're snatching the young kids to go and serve in the military. I don't know about that. It has already been, a lot of people are saying that it's confirmed. I don't know about that. But the only thing that I can tell you, there's a lot of inspection points, and they have these barricades for you to go in like a zigzag. The majority of the people that they are in these inspection points, they're older people. They're around my age, 44, 45, 50. A lot of them, they're 60. And, these people are there to do the particular inspections on the vehicles and so on. But apparently, the only ones that they're, cheering for Zelensky, it is the NATO, l'OTAN. And apparently, now the United States is not going to be the one that is going to police the world. And, not going to basically be supporting Ukraine on this. That's the perspective that the world is getting, right? Enough is enough. I think that it was billions of dollars that it was spent on Ukraine. I'm not going to talk about the meeting because it gets you to politically have diversity of opinions, and a lot of people do not want that. They cannot handle that. If you say something that you did not agree on that meeting, people will get into their feelings and they don't know how to handle it. And if you're positive and you are pro everything that went to that meeting, you will get cheered on and you will get applaud. And, it's basically being hypocritical to not say the truth. But the thing that I can say is that, I applaud the meeting, which it was basically JD Vance speaking about it. Now, a lot of people are criticizing JD Vance because they say, when was a vice president in a meeting? And you can actually go back and you can see that in the past administration with Trump, it was the biggest snake of all, that it was Pence. It was there, right there in that meeting also. But now JD Vance stepped into the plate, and he was the one that really fired up the meeting. I think that, in my own perspective and what I've seen is that the lack of humbleness, on that room was, man, my God. And for you to just receive billions of dollars, and after you receive billions of dollars of help from the American people, and what the American people have done for you, it is that basically they have saved your country. Because of the American taxpayer, you haven't been taken over by Russia. The first thing that you would have come out of your mouth, it is to say, first and foremost, Mr. President, I would like to address the American public. I don't know if I can, with your permission. Yes, of course, Mr. Zelensky, go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you. You have saved our country. It would have been nice if he would have said that, but it was not that way. And it was just challenging between you and me. And then he said something that it was completely out of context, when he said that you're going to suffer those consequences too. You have beautiful beaches and all of that. I think that was the worst thing that he could ever responded. There were a lot of things that they were really bad on that meeting. And I think that things got heated and got out of hand because the American people are sick and tired, are paying for this war that they shouldn't be involved. They shouldn't be paying billions of dollars for this war. And now, they're pulling out. And the only ones that they have to support Ukraine, it is the NATO, it is the OTAN. And let's see how that goes, because it is because of the Iron Dome. It is because of the support, of the military support. It is because of all the things that the United States has given Ukraine that Ukraine is surviving. That's the reality. Although I have been in Ukraine, and it's sad to see first generation and like a generation of young kids. Ukraine is going to suffer from reproducing and growing as a country later on. They're basically, their youth is dying. And, this is not stopping, and their youth is basically dying. I talked to Vitaly Klitschko, the mayor, which this interview we got this interview by by my mentor Chuck Holton. When I talked to him, I specifically, we emphasize on the immigration issue, right? And I said, what is going to happen to your country when you don't have, reproduction? When you're not going to be able to, you don't have enough men. When you are older men, basically they're going to go to war. A lot of them, they have died, and you're going to need, to grow, as a country. And he said, well, we're, hopefully we don't get to that point. And now, I don't know if they are at that point, but you know what is going to happen. They're going to need what? Migration. And, it's sad to go to Ukraine and to see all these places where they have all these, when you go to the plaza where they have that big statue in Kyiv, there's a huge statue in Kyiv. I don't know the significance of that statue. And on the top of her hand or his hand, it has the Ukrainian flag. When you go to there's a walkway to that plaza, and on that walkway you will have pictures of all the young kids that they have died on the war, and it's all young kids, man. It's all young kids. If you see a 28-year-old over there, you will see a few. But the majority that you see there, when you go and you're seeing the whole, they have like I don't know if it's a shrine or whatever you want to call it, of all the pictures of all the young kids that they have died on the war. 17-year-olds, man. 18, 19, 17, 18, 19, 17, 18, 19. These are young kids. Exactly like we saw when I went to Israel with the IDF. We were embedded with them for a couple of times. And in the small town of Malkia, they took us to this bunker where they were hiding because they were bombing them. Hezbollah was bombing them, and they had a bunker that they dig out on this mountain, the IDF, and they were hiding right there. And Hezbollah was on top of Lebanon. Lebanon is the top of Galilee, right? So Lebanon is the top of the north of Galilee. They're on the higher spot, so they had the advantage of throwing missiles and rockets. And we were with them, and it was all young kids. The IDF is also all young kids. They're 18, 19, 20. When you go to Ukraine, the majority, they're young. And there's a story that I want to tell you. I don't want to get into particular politics with this meeting that it was between Zelensky, Trump, Vance. I think the lack of humbleness in that room was, there was no presence of humbleness in that room. But let me just tell you, when I went over there was a story that Vitaly Klitschko gave to me. He just came in. He was coming into the interview with us late, right? And he came in late. And when he came in late, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late, I'm so sorry." He shook our hand and we sat down, and he said, I'm late because I just went to the hospital. And these are the stories that they're so bad. I just went to the hospital, he said, and there was this 18-year-old that, he went into combat, and a grenade landed and it cut his legs, and he has a wife. So now he was sitting down in the hospital, and I went to visit him, and I shook his hand, and he's like, I told him, "You're going to be okay." And the young kid responded to him. He said, "Why you're lying to me? I'm not going to be okay. Look at me. I don't have no legs, and I'm 19 years old." And he just looked at him, and he said, like, he's right. What is he going to do now? He's 19. Possibly his wife is going to leave him. his whole life is going to completely drastically change for the rest of his life. And these are the things that I'm just, I'm just bringing to the table on this agreement. It seems like one side wants to bring the peace and the other one does not. That's the way that the world looks at this situation. That's the way that it's persuaded. That's the way it is looked at. That's the way that it's analyzed until now. That the United States does not want to support this war because they want peace, and Zelensky wants peace, but it wants peace on his own terms. And it's extending the war, and elections are extending because they're in martial law, because they're at war. And now speculations of the other political party being drastically persecuted by the political party of Zelensky, and there are young kids that they're being snatched and being forced to go to the military, and all these speculations that there are videos right now going around that they're not speculations anymore. It's a reality what's going on. So this article, you can go and see it on our webpage. It seems like NATO, particularly France, Macron, lefty, all the leftists, Trudeau, who is a coward, all of these people, they are supporting him. And the U.S. is pulling out. And what the U.S. is saying, well, good luck. We wish you the best. We're just going to worry about how we're going to survive on our own, because the United States of America right now, it's on a pickle, man. They're not. Let me just tell you, the United States of America, they owe a lot of money, and they're in debt, and it's not a lie. It is not a lie. The United States owns like trillions of dollars. And they need to keep on going with the economy. If it would have been going the way that, if it would have been going the way that Biden had the country going, that country was on a downfall. That country was going and heading to a third world class country. And I am not lying about it. It's a reality. We're not lying about it, man. It's stupidity and incompetence if somebody's saying no, it was going on and up. If we were having international relations and we were doing great. It was a disaster with Joe Biden. A complete disaster. Let's see where it goes with this, relations, which I believe that there was a lot of lack of humbleness in that room. But I think that Zelensky should have been more humble. He was pivot to a corner, but this was his moment to say, I understand what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying. And I want to say that I'm sorry. And I want to say that thank you. And I want to say this. The lack of humbleness is one of the things that when you pull away from God, it's just, it takes you away from the principles of life. And I believe that was the thing that really, it would have been a game changer if he would have taken that position at that moment to change the perspective of what he was with the Democrats, because he was campaigning with the Democrats because he knew that if Donald Trump went into office, the war was going to end and there was no more warmongering. And now that he is in this position, well, for him it's scary because he knows that he's not going to receive the support that he was receiving. So let's see what the NATO is going to come out. Let's see what is going to happen with that. I cannot go into more detail because I don't have the most vast open knowledge of this particular circumstance with the United States and Ukraine. What I can tell you is that I went to Ukraine with Chuck Holton and we spent there for it was 10 days, I believe so. And we were there, and what I can tell you when I went to Ukraine, and I will be honest with you guys, the Ukrainian people are, are suffering. And it is not a lie. It is not a lie. I'm being honest with you guys. And if I'm gonna get criticized because of this, I don't know why I'm gonna get criticized, because I'm saying the truth. I was there and I saw all the towns and all the villages that they were blown up by Vladimir Putin. And it is a reality. All of these towns that were taken over by the military of Russia. It's a complete disaster. Even we went to a hospital where there were military young males, and we talked to them. I was talking to them, and I had on my back, I always carry on my back my backpack, and it has a Mexican flag on my backpack, right? So I was the only Mexican in that large group. The majority, they were American, and you had Ukrainians, right? So I was the only Mexican, and I was watching in the hospital. I was watching all the young kids waiting to go into the doctor's appointment, right? The doctors are also heroes. I'm gonna tell you this, because they are also expecting the hospitals to be attacked, and they are there working in a in a gray zone. So I was in the hospital. Let me tell you an experience. I was in the hospital, and I was walking through the hospital, and we were documenting the hospital and getting some interviews. And all of a sudden, I saw a lane of young kids, military from Ukraine, right? They were sitting down, and all of them with their heads bow down, all with their heads low. And they told us, you cannot record here. The reason why is we don't want to show the Russians that our soldiers are suffering and they're winning. This war between Ukrainians and Russians is all about like the pride. This is what I understood, the psychological thing. It's so like Soviet Union kind of ideology. Russia will send 20 missiles, and let's hypothetical example, send 20 missiles and they will attack 10 buildings, right? Ukraine will send next day 40 missiles and they want to attack 20 buildings. And it is like that. It's always back and forth. So you hit me with one building, I will hit you twice. And it will go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I went to this lane, I went to this hospital, right? And I'm telling you my own experience as a humble experience, as it's a humble experience. I went to this hospital where there were all Ukrainians, soldiers. And I was walking, and one of them, I was walking towards their line. It was like 10 or 15 soldiers. And one of them looked at my bag and, and said, "Oh, Mexico." And I looked back and I said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, you're from Mexico?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I said, "God bless you." It's like, "So you in Mexico, you don't hate us." And the perspective of them thinking that the world hates them because they're in a war, it's unbelievable. The soldier, how they believe that they're in a war and they be in hatred by the world. And all of them, they thought about themselves that way. It was just so bad, because you just came in from the Donbass and you're coming, to the hospital to be taken care of, and that's your mentality. Like, I just went in there to a war and I'm coming back and I know people hate me. And I said, "Oh man, I don't hate you." I said, I don't hate you. I want to, let's pray. And we started praying right there. I don't know how to lead a prayer, because I'm not a full 100% Christian, but I pray in my way. And I started praying in Spanish towards them. And I gathered like all 10, 15 of them, and they were like right there in a little circle, to protect them from dying, because nobody wants this war to continue, man. Everybody wants peace in the world. This is a horrible war. It shouldn't be happening. Thousands, hundreds of thousands have died. Not only Ukrainians, but also, young Russians. And, I shook the hand of every single one of them. A lot of them, they had blood on their face. Some of them, they were in pain. And it's just bad, and this is what I'm saying, that the lack of humbleness to end this is beyond my understanding. I understand that, Vladimir, in my own perception, Vladimir Putin is a tyrant, and whoever defends Putin, I don't know what you are on, really, because he changed the constitution to be also a president all the way to 2036, and he, basically put a reform for all of his cabinet to be, untouchable after he ends his term of president, and we don't even know if he's going to end it or not. I'm just understanding. I'm not in, this side on that side. I'm just in the middle, trying to say, like, it's sad that it's not a peaceful agreement to end this war, and hopefully, it will end. Knowing NATO is a warmongering unit, and they're gonna try to continue with this war, and they're not going to back off. And it's now the United States has pulled away because they have spent billions of dollars on this war, and nothing has been solution. More people are dying, more controversy, more where's the money, if the money was delivered correctly, if not, show me where the money is, and all this kind of stuff. And it's so sad. But this article, you can find it in our webpage. It says Zelensky is being, Zelensky is being supported in Europe. And this is apparently what it looks like right now. So that's my own personal experience. That's, and yes, there are comments right here on the live feed that apparently Zelensky does not want peace. This is what it says. So let's go to the other one. It says right here that Donald Trump approved guns to Israel for $4,000 million. That is $4 billion. This is apparently what it was approved to Israel. And, the decision was ordered from the Republican leader on this 25th of January to unfreeze 1,800 bombs MK-84. The administration of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, approved on Saturday the selling of weapons to Israel for a value of $4,000 million. That is around $4 billion. According to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, he affirmed that the declaration is to utilize the emergency authorities to accelerate the delivering of approximately $4 billion of military assistance to Israel. This measure allows the Department of State to elude the inspection of Congress, being more agile on transferring this, weaponry or artillery with this new package. That on total weapons, Israel, under their actual administration, has spent $12,000 million. That's around $12 billion. So they're authorizing right now $4 billion to go. They're selling weapons to Israel for $4 billion. So this is what it looks like right now. Hopefully this will end also. I went to Israel a couple of times. And the two times in Israel that I was at, I have to say it with my mentor, Chuck Holton. I was there the first time. I went to almost all the way, and it was just a month of difference, towards where it was October 7th. We were in November there, and the drones and the explosions and the bombings were consistent, man. We were really close, and there were a couple of times where we were being hit again by missiles and all this kind of stuff. All the time that I've been there, there's always missiles flying on top of us. And we were in Esderot. Also, we went a little bit close to the lines of Gaza, and it was difficult. It was really difficult. And the second time I was in the borders with Lebanon, and also that was difficult. Kiryat Shimona is one of the places that it gets attacked consistently. The community of Jish, Malkia, those places are hot, and we were there for 2 to 3 days, 4 days. And what I can tell you, from my own perspective, I don't want to touch on this more times because a lot of people it gets like, oh, you're a Zionist, you're this. I go over there to document. I don't go over there to pander to this and this side. What I saw on the Lebanon side with the community of these small, kibbutz, and also and the borders with Northern Galilee, what I saw, it is just Hezbollah ruthlessly. They're vicious, man. Hezbollah is vicious. They were attacking every day, 15 to 20 to 30 missiles. Every day, rocket launchers. Every day, 15 to 20, 15 to 20, 15 to 20. And it was not, a ground-to-ground missile. It was not ballistic missile. It was just rocket launchers. You can actually hear artillery. Israel has the most efficient, military tank, that is the Merkava tank, that their value is around $9 million. I saw that Merkava tank really close at the bunker that I was located in, embedded with the IDF. We saw it really close. It is really, it has a lot of abilities. That tank is extremely fast, and it has a lot of protection, and it's extremely expensive. But the only thing that I can tell you is that, on the part of Northern Galilee, if you ask the people from Israel, we can cease fire in Gaza, they have said. We can cease fire over there. But over here in the North Galilee, they say we are not going to cease fire. We need Hezbollah to pull away 40 kilometers from the border. We need them to pull away 40 kilometers from the border, Hezbollah, because they're continue to attack our kibbutz. And they continue to attack us continuously. So we were there a couple of, we were there a couple of times. And what I can tell you until now, it is that, all this negotiations with the hostages and, vicious, these Hamas terrorists delivering coffins of the hostages, it's just so bad. Hopefully this will end also. But, from my own experience, the thing that I can tell you where I felt the most animosity and where I felt the most, danger and the massive attack was on the Northern Galilee. That was vicious, man. Hezbollah is vicious. And, talk about Hamas, they're animals. They're, they're both of them, they're terrorists. But when it comes to missile attacks, Hezbollah, it is extremely vicious. And it is because they're highly equipped. They're more supported. They have more money. They delivered a video when I was there where they created these tunnels in this city of, tunnels. And it's just a city. And they promoted this video when I was there. Hezbollah promoted this video because they wanted to send a message to Israel. Like, well, look, we have our city underneath the ground. Like, we can hit you whenever we can. And we saw this video, and we immediately, on the next day, we went to the Northern Galilee, and effectively they were getting attacked. Massively, Israel was getting attacked. So let's just understand what it is, the whole purpose. Hezbollah is vicious, man. It's the only thing that I can tell you. I was there. Nobody can tell me the opposite. I was there. Hezbollah, it is a vicious terrorist organization that it was bombing every day the Northern Galilee. I was there. And it's just like 15 to 20 every day. Is the alarm. It was like burn, burn, burn to the floor. And you're just walking and you're just getting some lunch, burn to the floor. and you're driving and you have to pull over to the right, hey, throw yourself to the floor. And it's just like constantly. We went to this community that it was Jeesh. And we were talking to a guy that he's a Levi. And the guy did a prayer for me, and this guy that he was a Levi, he let us into his farm. And this community was almost like around 800 and 900 people. That they all were Levi, and the majority were Levi. And when I was talking to him, I said, "How many of your community still live here?" And he said, "Well, we're around like 10." It's like, you got to be kidding me, 10? And it's like, yes, 10. The majority have left already. It is impossible to live over here. And I said, why is it impossible? It's like they're bombing us every day. And because Lebanon, it is on the top, and North Galilee is on the bottom. And these communities are on the bottom, like Lebanon is on top of the mountain, and they're really easy for them to just drop and drop and drop. And I was there, and witness of that. It's constant. The attacks of Hezbollah are horrible. They're constant. And this is the reason why a lot of the people from Israel will say, we are not going to cease fire in the North Galilee. All of them. If you talk to all of them, even the people that they're not Jewish, I talk to Catholics, Christians, and Levites, and they say, no, they need to pull away 40 kilometers from the border. We don't want them close over here, man. They're violent. They're vicious. And, the first day that we arrived there, I think that I shown video about this. We arrived there, and it was just like, immediately, we were at a house, and immediately they were sending constant missiles. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And it was a rain of rockets and missiles. I'm like, whoa, man. Then late at night, again, the siren, and you can actually hear the boom, boom, boom consistently. It's like, whoa, man. This is the epicenter of these vicious people. They're vicious. I was witness of that. You cannot tell me the opposite, because I was there. I was there. I witnessed that. Hezbollah, it is a vicious, vicious terrorist organization. And they haven't stopped. And the same question I will ask, I always ask this question. I'm not going to pull one side and then to the other side and then be like, oh, which side you're on. It's just, I will say, this is the same question that everybody asks, every, pro-Palestine supporter or, pro-Hamas or pro-Hezbollah supporter. Let's say, and I will ask it again, let's say Israel ceases fire. Will Hezbollah and Hamas cease fire? What is Hezbollah and Hamas going to do next? That's the question. That's the inevitable question. And when you ask this, they are not going to answer. There are going to be anger. The answer that you receive is just anger, conflictional anger. I was in the Holy City, walking in the middle of the Holy City, right? And I went into this store. The majority of the stores on the right side. When you go into the Holy City, the right chamber, I'd say it's the chamber. There's three ways to get to the Holy Sepulchre. It's on the left side. The middle is the Jewish pathway, and the right side it is the Muslim pathway, right? The Islam pathway. So we went to the right side to just this was my first time that I went over there. And the majority of them, the people that they work there, and I'm just saying, you say this is crazy because, and I'm not criticizing Muslims, but the majority of the Muslims that they live there, they sell things that they don't believe, and that is for them, and that is haram. And I don't know why you're doing that. And that is the question that I ask. I went over there to a store, and he was selling crosses from Christians. He was selling even things from Jewish people, from Torah and, the Star of David and all this kind of stuff. And I said, are you Muslim? And he said, yes. I say, why you're selling this? this is supposed to be haram for you. This is a kafir. It is a non-believer. Why you're selling this? This is goes against your beliefs. It goes against your religion. It goes against everything that you believe in. And he started saying it's a business. And I'm like, well, is your religion a business? And I did not want to confront the guy, but I wanted to know, because I know the actual Sunni Muslim or the Shia, they're extremely, passionate about their religion. And there's a surah that is Surah Al-Kafir, I think so, Kafir. And it says that if you don't believe on the Quran, you're a kafir, you're a non-believer. This is haram stuff for them, and they're actually selling it and living out of it. And it's just, for me, it was mind-boggling, because a lot of the things that, that I'm just don't. And I'm Richard. How you doing? Let me just. You're saying, and what do the Zionists think about the Catholics and Jesus? I understand. I understand where you're going, but I'm talking about specifically the Muslims. I don't know why their justification, my brother, with the Zionists and the Catholics. I'm talking about the Muslims right now. That's not a rhetorical question. I'm talking about the Muslims right now, because I went through that pathway and I got into an argument with him, and I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to talk to him because I know a little bit about the religion. And believe me, I know a little bit about the religion in the Quran. So it says, I said to him, I don't believe in Hamas and Hezbollah. They're peaceful, resiliencies or militia or whatever you want to call it. They're terrorists. And immediately he said, well, the IDF is terrorists also. So I said, okay, so that's your perspective. I understand. But I said, well, if you don't, do you believe that Jesus is the Christ? And he said, no. So why are you selling this kind of stuff? Said, get out of my business. Get out of my business. Get out of my business. I'm like, all right, I'll get out. I'll get out. I'll get out. I'll get out. I'm sorry. I'll get out. But I try to question that, because there's some things that you go against your beliefs. And this is the holy city. And you have a whole, a pathway of people that they're selling this kind of stuff, and they're making money out of it. And I don't think that it's crazy. Simple things like this makes you understand of the variety of religions that they are in Israel. For people that they do not never been to Israel, it is not a, Israel, it is not. And I understand your comment, Richard. I understand. I really do. I really do understand. I do not know why we keep justifying the truth, my brother. If we're talking, I'm just saying simple things, and your surahs, right? So if you, let me just pull it right here, man. Let me just pull it right here. Here we go. And I'm doing this because this is for me, it's unbelievable. You're selling things that you don't believe in. This is Surah Al-Kafirun, right? So if you go, every surah needs to start Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, right? You need to start it out of the respect. This is the way you start a surah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And then you say, O Prophet, O you disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor do you worship what I worship. I will never worship what you worship, nor will you ever worship what I worship. You have your way, and I have my way. This is Surah Al-Kafirun. Why are you selling or profiting out of kafir articles? This is one of the things that for me, when I was there, it was mind-boggling, because you don't go to a Christian store and see that they're selling stuff from the Quran. And this is, I know the Surah Al-Kafirun. This is one of the things that it was for me. It was like, wow. No, I did not understand. The only thing that I can tell you that it was rough. I went to Masjid Al-Aqsa and I tried to enter, and the IDF had a pathway for you to enter to Masjid Al-Aqsa, and you cannot enter Masjid Al-Aqsa if you're not a Muslim. So I thought that I could enter. I thought that I thought that I could enter, and I thought that I can go in there. But I was stopped in the middle, and the IDF stopped me, and they told me, "You're a Muslim?" And I said, "No, I'm not." They said, "Well, you cannot go into Masjid Al-Aqsa." And I really wanted to go over there and see it, because Masjid Al-Aqsa, if people do not understand, is where the Hadith says that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's apparently how you had to say it, went into the seven heavens, and he elevated to the seven heavens from Masjid Al-Aqsa. So that's why it is extremely important to the Muslim community, that specific mosque. And I could not enter the mosque. The IDF stopped me and it said, "You cannot enter right here. You cannot." And there was a couple of Muslims right there, and they told me, "No, brother, you cannot enter." The accent, brother, stop, brother. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know." But Richard, te mando un abrazo. ¿Cómo se dice? Es bonito estar de acuerdo cuando no estás de acuerdo. Pero sí se me hace incorrecto. Así como muchas cosas incorrectas, ¿no? Hay muchas cosas incorrectas. Let's go to another topic. Last one that I want to touch right here before I go. And it is this one. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? This one. Okay, this one. Yeah. Controversy on the on the law in Missouri. They're saying that they're offering $1,000 to help and for you to basically denounce undocumented immigrants. So now in Missouri, you're getting $1,000 check if you want to put a complaint or basically signalize that there is undocumented immigrants, which I believe that is a horrible. I don't believe that this is correct. I believe that it's horrible doing this because there is going to be, and I do not play the race card. You guys know that I do not play the race card, but I believe that this is horrible, knowing the fact that there is a huge Latino population, that they're legal and they're documented, more than 72 million in the United States of America. And, in particular, you're seeing that there's a lot of Latinos in Missouri also, and you don't know if you're just going to label a person because he's Latino. That is actually the most, I think this is the most horrible policy. It is not going to do anything. It's just spending money let the police be the police. Let the authority be the authority. I don't think that is correct. You're trying to save money and you're spending money on just, basically signalizing, oh, that's Juan. Yeah. Is he legal or is he illegal? Well, I need $1,000, Dorothy. We need to pay the rent. Call and let him know. Like, no, it goes to that particular way. You're trying to save money. You're trying to save money from a massive inflation problem that you had under the Democrats, and now you're spending $1,000 just to tell people, hey, if you call 511 or whatever the number is, you're going to get $1,000 for free. And it's just like, what? You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me with this. It's just stupid. So I don't believe that it's a good strategy. I believe that it's just spending money on the state of Missouri. I don't believe that it's a good strategy. Let the ice be ice. That's it. Why you're trying to weaponize this kind of situation, and I don't believe that is correct. And I don't believe somebody saying that story seems to be showing up for a few states. I don't believe that is real. I really do not want to believe that is real, because that will be, if you're an American citizen and if you're a U.S. citizen, right? And we don't like. I particularly don't think that illegal migration. I believe that migration is a human right, but in those human rights there's a process and there's a law, and we need to obey that law. So, but this is not correct. Why you're spending money where you don't have it, man? It's a stupid way to do it. It's a bill, Jefferson City, Missouri, CNN. A bill before the Missouri State Senate will introduce $1,000 rewards for people identified undocumented who are then taken into custody. Yeah, I don't think that is a bill that it needs to be passed. I think that you need to let that to the authority to decide, and let the authority be the authority. And why you're spending money, if you're going to be signalizing people that you don't even know if they are, just because they're Latino, it's going to look bad. You're not trying to make the political party look bad, and with these kind of bills, you're making it look bad. It's not helping. It's just contradictorio. It's contradictory. It's not helping. Really, it's not. And then you're spending money on things that they're supposed to be going to the law enforcement. Supposed to be spending money on the law enforcement. I don't think that it's profitable. Why are you going to spend money and send people to basically signalize who's legal and who's not? Like, oh yeah, oh, it's a good job, John. That wasn't illegal. Today you're bounty hunting. You made 5,000. Incredible. Great job. Like, it's what kind of a? I don't think that it's good. I don't agree with it. I agree with law enforcement being law enforcement. I agree with let ICE do their job. That's it. It's an authority of the United States of America. Let them do their job. Let the United States Customs do their job. Let the Border Patrol do their job. Let the Border Patrol be Border Patrol. Let the police be the police. Let them be whoever they want to be. But I don't agree with basically letting people, like, you're paying them to now go over there and be like, ha, I knew it. Like, you're trying to save money. I don't agree with that. I don't know if people agree with me or not. I do not agree with that. So let me just read a little bit, and I will try to translate. It's a project of a bill that is being presented to the Senate of Missouri, has generated controversy to put on the table, basically a reward, $1,000 for whoever denounce or whoever signalize and illegal immigrants that are undocumented, which information can leave into detention. The initiative, it is better known as Senate Bill 72, SB 72. Also, it can amplify, to identify people that they are with an illegal status in the state. The Republican senator, David Gregory, promoter of the project, argues that the measure will reinforce the security, and also it will better the cooperation with federal authorities who apply the immigration laws. However, human rights civil defenders and also, immigrant defenders have completely gone against the proposal, and it says that it will increase the discrimination and vigilance between citizens. So I don't agree with this bill. Really, I don't. I don't think that this bill I don't think that this bill it is profitable for the people. Much love and respect, my brother. I mean no disrespect towards you. It's all social media chit chatter. I will always have your back even against my own. Híjole, con eso me matas, cabrón. That's the humbleness that I'm talking about. That's the humbleness. Even when you're wrong, I will always be there for you. That's when you teach the other person how to be humble. Muchas gracias por el día de hoy, Richard. Gracias, mi hermano. Thank you, my brother. You have taught me something today. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Oscar, I am an Iraqi veteran. You know as well as I that Hezbollah or Hamas, it is not going to stop. Yes, I know that. Attacks. No one should trust them. Muslims sold Catholic articles to American soldiers. Well, I don't want to get into an argument with that, but that's the question that I have asked multiple times. I have been in Israel a couple of times. I wish that I can go to Gaza and all those places, but it's really difficult for me to get in there, and it's really difficult to get out. But the only thing that I can tell you, the last time that I saw Gaza, what my eyes saw was completely. There's no words to say what I saw when I saw Gaza. It's shocking. It stays in my mind like everything is completely destroyed. Everything. There was also a telescope where you can also look at the Gaza Strip. It's just shocking. There's no other way to describe it. It shocks you. It's just what terror has done. Shocks you. Yeah, that's going into the pockets of whoever putting the bill forth. They need to siphon the money to Ukraine somehow. Well, what has Ukraine have to do with everything, man? No, and let me just give another one. We're going in an hour and 3 minutes. Buy me a coffee. It is right there, pinned in the chat. People want to donate and contribute to my work. I don't agree with that bill. I don't think that it's time to spend money. I think that it's time to save money. And you're trying to save money, man. You're trying to save money. You're not trying to spend money. And this will create more animosity between citizens. And, it's just bullying. And we're living in the edge. I was talking to my brother, Ben. We're living in the edge where it's not the same anymore. For us, I'm 44. I lived in a time where I used to joke around with my white friends, and my black friends about our race issues, and we never had an issue. They used to give me a hard time when I was young, like, hey, go back to the other side or swim across, and we were like, ha, ha, ha. And then, you can joke around with a black person and you can joke around with a white person, and that was back in the day. Today, we're living in a day that is not, that doesn't fit into the 2025 age and generation. Today, this kind of bills, what they will do is potentially put more class action lawsuits for the NGOs and for the humanitarian rights legal defenders. You're giving them more ammo, and you're giving them more, and you're fueling them more to get more lawsuits against the federal government. Why you want to do that? You're trying to prevent that. You need to be smart about that. That is not going to prevent anything. But ultimately, it puts a red flag for the undocumented immigrant to say, I'm not staying in Missouri anymore, man. I'm pulling out. So if they're doing it in a strategical manner to say, you know what, I'm passing this bill for them to understand that, you know, in Missouri we're not tolerating more. In a way, it's gonna work. It's inevitable. It's gonna work. People are not gonna say, I'm not going to Missouri. They're paying people to just basically denounce me and push me to the immigration officials and ICE and all this. I'm not going over there. I'm going to California. You know, it's sanctuary city. So it basically it's a strategy. If they're using it that way, I believe that if it's going to be a strategy, it's a strategy for them to protect themselves and say, like, you know, I'm not, you know, I am not basically I'm not going to Missouri. You know, because they're paying people to just signalize me and put me in jail and then deport me. So in a way, Missouri is protecting themselves. But I don't think that is a good way to spend money. And I don't think that is a good way to pass this bill. It's just, I think it is irresponsible. Really, it is. Let me just go and do this last one. Well, I believe that that's about it. I will do another one later on tonight. How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. Coffee. Thank you so much for joining in. How's everybody doing? Good morning to all. We have almost a little bit over 700 people on the live feed. God bless you all. It is 10:40 in the morning. 10:40 in the morning. Thank you so much for joining in. The Buy Me a Coffee app, it is right there pinned in the chat. People want to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. That's it is. And and to answer the rhetorical question, this is actually, and I'm just going to put this comment on because whoever, they have set this, and I don't know if you guys have seen the series The Chosen. I have been seeing it, and it is extremely interesting. And it caught my eye, and I have seen the whole series. And I'm addicted to it, man. I can't wait to season 5 to come out. I really can't. I can't wait to season 5 to come out. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining in. Stay safe, and like we always say, God's plan, it is our mission.